Essentially, Glass is a marketplace. All brands, if they have ideas of designs that they want to produce, they can create a campaign on Glass and get pre-orders. In that way, they would know exactly what sizes and what quantities they should produce without having the excess stock. And at the same time, they can also explain to the final buyer some key aspects along the supply chain. At the same time, what is different on Glass is the fact that we help all of these designers. Essentially, they want to launch their pre-ordering campaigns to connect with the right influencers for them. And in that way, they can use and leverage the power of community for people to see the pre-ordering campaigns, get as many pre-orders as possible, and then not have to deal with the volatile investment risk and high margins that they have to add to factor in the losses that they would have by not having sold enough of the stock or discounting the items later on. So it provides a bit more clarity and alignment with the market and with the final buyer above all.
Yes, which safeguards then the designer, right? The end as well.
Absolutely.
When you approached NerdHeadz, what were your expectations?
So I initially wanted to have something custom code developed. I had a few friends that were IT developers, and they recommended me to go for certain technologies. But after having worked with a custom code agency, I realized that the project would be extremely expensive. And with all these unpredictable situations that might arise, and also the timeline was very skewed. So we started this project with an MVP that was supposed to have just a few features to launch. And it was supposed to be ready in about 4 months. But then 6 months passed and we didn't have a functional product. And also the budget that I had for the project then was completely finished. So that's when things started to get very, very difficult for me because, I didn't know how to proceed, how to continue. And that's when I discovered the low code and no code solutions. I remember I was on the Bubble Marketplace trying to write the brief for the project from the very beginning because I couldn't use what we had worked on so far on the custom code side. And I was almost like trembling and crying. I didn't know how this product is actually going to come to life. Because I was pressed now by both time and money. And I remember having talked to Alex, and I told him like, look, Alex, I have this budget. I can't spend any more extra on it, and I need you to give me your word that we are going to launch this product and have this product built together. And I remember talking to him, I got so confident. He told me, Philo, you have my word. We are doing this. Don't even waste any more energy thinking about this. You're in good hands now. He gave me such confidence. And I remember, I had the clarity that this is going to be fine. This is going to be okay. No more, back and forth. And it was so. So we started the project in 2 weeks' time, I think. And by the deadline and within the budget, I had finally the product from beginning to end as it was agreed on. And I couldn't be happier. So that was something exceptional for me. Afterwards, I realized that I had to do some edits to it. And again, this was, of course, on my end. After testing the product and discussing with some users, I realized that the mobile responsiveness had to be adjusted in a certain way. And I talked to Alex, and I remember him mentioning, like that this is actually how long it's going to take. And he gave me an offer then. And I remember having, being again pressed by the budget. I didn't know what to do. So I remember I had to find another solution there. And I discussed with a freelancer that would help me do the edits. Alex, as a partner, told me, Filo, be mindful, be very careful. I know it's an issue with finance, but be very careful that there are freelancers that will promise to do it for less, but it's not gonna take as long as they say, and it's probably gonna involve having even them affecting bigger dependencies in the product. I was pressed by the circumstances at the time, and he was right. So the freelancer that I ended up hiring, I had to essentially patch up the things that
That
he affected there, and it took so much longer, and it ended up being as expensive, if not more, than if I had just gone with the solution Alex suggested. So I think it's very important to find a partner that is honest, reliable, and once again, it's not just a cost matter. Especially, I know startups and usually businesses that begin are very cost dependent, especially now in the beginning, but sometimes it's better, faster, and even less expensive to go with the more expensive at first solution, because in the long run it's better.
how was your experience with NerdHeadz team from start to finish to where you're at now? How has your experience been with Alexander, but obviously also with the team itself?
So from the very beginning, I had a project manager that was coordinating the team, be them like QA or working on the back end or on the front end. So it was very good for me that I had a point of contact if any questions arrived, or if I had any issues, I could talk to her. And also, we had a Slack group where we were all discussing everybody who was involved in the project. At the same time, I also had the support of some incredible developers. I remember when we had in the final stage of the final milestone of the product, I asked a few friends of mine to test the platform, and some of them were doing it during the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, because obviously they were working during the week. And I remember posting screenshots and questions and maybe some bugs that we needed to resolve. And I remember having some members of the team responding on Sunday, on Saturday, fixing things, asking if things were resolved, and I was really really deeply impressed. I actually even wanted to send them a thank you gift at the end of the project, because that meant a lot to me, not having to. And it's one thing having a collaborator, but I felt like I had a real partner that was there with me when I needed it, and that meant a lot.
That's really special. That's Philo, I love that. Thank you for that. For you personally, what were the key outcomes of the project?
We had, like, the project was divided in milestones,
Mm-hmm.
and we had different flows that were thought through. And essentially, from the very beginning, I thought about my MVP as a building. So we built the foundation with the administrative tasks, anything that's related to user registration and so on, up to the end. But essentially, it was the product that was very important. And from the sign up, the flows inside to the notifications, emails, integrating different services in the product. It was all from beginning to end completed. From the beginning, I didn't really know what to expect, because I didn't know much about low code or agencies that worked with low code. But I would say that for startups that don't have a CTO or somebody that has a tech background, it's very important to have an agency or a partner that can provide some insight into what are the best solutions, what are the integrations that are maybe most effective, even when it comes to costs. We had at some point to integrate these emails, and I didn't necessarily have the service that would deliver the email addresses. And we were discussing with the team what would be best to use now, and also when the platform would be scaling and we would have more users, to be mindful of the costs later on. So I think that's very important, and I think you guys did a great job to provide insight, especially for me that, you know, I don't have a tech background. I'm a fast learner, but at the same time, there are things that need to be put into perspective by someone who has a bit more experience and sees things also at the larger scale. When I had a specific problem and we knew, how the system was working, what are the dependencies, the flows, and everything. I had the support of the team that was mentioning, alternatives or things that could work,
That's
explaining the pros and cons so that we can make the best decision forward at this stage as well as for later on, which is extremely, extremely important.
And was there anything specific for you that stood out to you with the project and with the relationship with NerdHeadz?
I think there were many things, and that's one of the reasons why I don't plan to change partners anytime soon. I would love to continue working with NerdHeadz, and I'm counting on them now for the launch, having the team's support, having clarity, also agility, and keeping the deadlines as they were initially discussed. That was also very important for me.
So you mentioned that your launch is coming up. When is that? What does that look like for you? And what's next after that?
So we have like 3 weeks to go. On the 28th, the launch is going to be. That's why I am now pretty tired and exhausted, because I'm spreading myself a bit too thin. But we're very excited to launch, and there's a wait list of designers and fashion influencers
Oh,
that have
wow.
product ideas. They want to get
Oh, wow.
pre-orders. They want to share their stories and also
Yeah.
collaborate amongst themselves. So excited for that.
That's very exciting. Sure. I can't wait to see the final launch. Thank you so much, Peter, for sharing your insights and your kind words. And I know it's been such an honor for the team to work with you. It's so
Thank you for
appreciated.
having me and for doing this. Hope it's gonna be very useful. Technology is advancing. As you know, Instagram is for albums, low code is now for tech development, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to see all of the amazing projects that can and will be built using low code technology. I would encourage anyone to do this, to follow their dreams and to build the product that they wanted. And I'm giving a huge shout out to you and the team for helping a community of entrepreneurs make their dreams happen. And it was a pleasure to work, and is a pleasure to work with the agency, and can't wait for the launch.
Yay. Thanks, Peter.